Oh my God, can we go
I
back?
do hold more accountability on our mothers.
It's a fact. Because we're getting raised by our mothers.
Because our
So
mothers
what?
raised us to be that way.
No, it
Understand
didn't.
the woman. Open the door for her.
No,
And
why
all
y'all
this, be
doing
nice.
that?
Work for the woman and take care of her and take care of your kids. And if she has kids, take care of her kid. Be a stand-up man.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But at the same
All
time,
right, so
that
I'm
same
gonna
mother,
cut
she
in.
can-
I'm gonna cut in. If your mother taught you how to be a stand-up man, and my question to all of y'all Negro men, that how come none of y'all be stand-up men? There's a very but few of y'all men that actually do the right thing. So please, and that means even taking care of your own children, let alone being a stepfather to other people's children. There's some of y'all that do that, but a lot of y'all men won't even be fathers to your own children. Hence the statistics. So I don't know how you saying hold a mother accountable. Your mother not Superman. She can't teach you everything. How come y'all not holding the fathers accountable? If your father was there, your father you could have seen interact with your mother in a healthy way for you to understand how a man is supposed to treat a woman. First and foremost, that's information you're supposed to get from your father, not your mother. Your mother can't teach you nothing. She could teach you, yes, what she's saying to you is accurate. Be kind, be good. That's what a husband is supposed to be to his wife. Be good to women, treat them with respect, because it's coming from a female perspective. She was a woman who was not treated good by a man, so she wants her son to do better than their father by being better men. How are you turning around and blaming her for her teaching you the right thing to do, you fucktard? The right thing to do. What was she supposed to teach you? Be a player? No. She don't nobody want no player. We want men who can actually do something, provide and protect. So what she taught you, if she taught you that, is correct. Now I'm gonna read some of these comments too. Watch.
Her daughter, get yourself a job so you don't need no man.
That's not true.
So you don't need no man. So you
That's
don't need
a
no man. So
lie.
you
My
don't
mother,
need no man.
now you really lying. My mother has never taught me to not need a man, ever in all my years of being. My mother told me, and this is my mother. My mother is so cute. She do a couple of things a little bit unorthodox, right? So one thing my mother did tell me growing up, if we ever really did talk about a man, she would be like, you need to learn how to cook because your husband gonna want you to learn how to cook. My mother was in a different era. She was born in 1949, but she was raised in the 60s, and some men would go upside women's head back in the day. So she'd be like, yo, you need to learn how to cook because you don't want your man to basically go upside your head. And I would have to tell her, Mom, it don't work like that. But she was raised in a different era or whatever, but she was like, you better learn how to cook or whatever, and she would tell us stuff like that. And even when we were like 7, 8, 9 years old, my mother would give us little tests to find out where our heads is when it came to a man. So she would say little things and ask us little questions when we were like 7, 8, and 9, me and my sisters. She would be like, okay, so if you were stranded on a ditch, which car would you take? Would you take the ugly broke down car that had a good engine, or would you take the nice car that had no engine at all? She wanted to know, and then she would say to us, I just want to know, what man would y'all choose? Would you choose the nice man who's really bad to you, or would you take the ugly man who's really good to you? She just wanted to know where our head was as a kid. And if my mom did give us any advice about men, the one thing my mother would say to us is, I want y'all to get an education and make sure you get a career. So just in case your husband, decide that he don't want to be in a relationship no more, he up and leave you, you will be able to have enough money or a career to fall back on so that you're able to support and take care of your kids. That is what my mother taught me. My mother never taught me to not want or need a man. So stop lying on y'all mothers. And y'all mothers don't teach y'all that either. Let's get into it. Let's talk about some of these comments. We're going to read these comments. We're gonna read these comments because one of the comments said something that's so true. That's my comment, y'all. Because I was just saying, I basically just said the same thing I said to y'all. And then somebody was like, stop lying on your mother. She tells you to go to school and don't hit women and make something out of yourself. Facts on facts on facts. My mother told my brother to not hit girls. Do not put your hand on girls. It's all right to argue with them, but do not hit them. Why? Because my mother was in an abusive relationship. My mother was only telling me things to teach me from going through what she went through. And the same thing, she was telling the boys not to hit women and to treat them good. If she did give you that advice, it was so that you understand she didn't want you to be like your father who had a hand problem and put his hands on women. She wanted you to be a good man, better than your father. So that's why she tell you to be good to women. She tell you to be good to them and be kind to them so that you don't be like your father. And then she would tell your sisters to prevent them from being like her, a single woman without a father and without skill assets to be able to provide for her children. So she would tell her daughters, she would tell us that so that we would have something to fall back on just in case the man do leave. So it was like a preventive measure, not to say that we don't need men, but to understand that just in case something happened, you want to have something to fall back on, because back in the 60s and 70s, a lot of these women, and in the 50s, a lot of these women would stay with these men who were abusive, and it's because they had no skill set and the man did, and then you would have to be in a relationship for a long time where he's beating you up until he got old enough and couldn't fight you no more, and then you had suffered such a great ordeal being with this man, when if you had the skills and could take care of yourself, you could have left that abusive relationship. That's why our mothers teach us that stuff. Our mothers never teach us to not want men. She teaches us preventive measures so that we're not single mothers or women having to stay with abusive men. That's why she teaches us stuff. She teaches us that so that we don't have to sit back and deal with stuff we don't got to deal with. And how do we prevent that? Is by educating ourselves and having careers of our own, so that if he does leave and decide to walk out of the family life, we can now provide and protect ourselves and take care of our children without him. She never said not to need them. She said to protect ourselves just in case he leaves. Always blaming your mother, where your dusty father. And your father was supposed to be there. Why are we never holding men accountable for leaving? Your fathers aren't teaching you anything. Had your father stayed and gave you more information on how a man is supposed to treat a woman, we wouldn't be having these conversations. And let me straighten this out, black men. You want to know what the problem is? Y'all keep on trying to figure out why black women talk about black women going to get careers and all this stuff. But what y'all fail to understand is y'all the reason for it. Y'all the ones who be walking out of the lives of these black families. Y'all the ones that don't be working and being lazy and stuff. Y'all the ones doing that. So these black women feel like they got to do it on their own, so they go get careers. If y'all were the ones that were actually providing and taking care of y'all homes, maybe you wouldn't have so many Negro women out here working and doing all this stuff. But we have to, because a lot of us are the ones that got to pick up the pieces to the relationship and take care of these kids. Who else gonna do it if you walk out? Or you want to know what y'all don't like? That these children ain't destitute, dying in the street without y'all. Y'all don't feel like men because we ain't dying without y'all. That's what y'all problem is. Because if there was the other way around and we was out here dying, y'all would have been, and we needed y'all would have been just fine. Y'all would have been like, oh well, we don't want to be fathers, so you just gonna have to die. That's what y'all would like. But now that these women are out here saying, no, we ain't gonna just lay down and die, we gonna go out here and take care of ourselves, y'all upset. No, we're not independent because we want to be. We're independent because we have to be, right? For survival's sake. These women could not wait on the hands of a man who didn't want to do something, so they had to go get jobs and careers. Not because they wanted to, because they had no choice. So stop lying on your mother. Stop lying and stop blaming your mother for stuff that's not true. Our mothers never tried to make us independent women. Our mothers did teach us to cook for men. Our mothers did tell us to clean up and know how to clean up properly for men. My mother definitely said that to us. Now, my mother, some of what I learned about being independent and by myself was living it and watching my mother do it on her own. It wasn't that she taught me that. It's just that when I was a little girl, even though my father was in my life for the first early years of my life, my father was not a good guy. My father beat up on my mother, and my mother could no longer deal with it, so they were not together. So my mother learned how to do everything on her own. Even though my mother did not have much skill set because she did not go to school. She was born in 1949. She did not have a lot of skill set. She did not pass the 5th grade. She didn't have education, and then she didn't have no skills. She learned and went and put her own self, learned how to read really clearly, put her own self through nursing and became a nurse and did, some nursing jobs, and then she did some factory jobs so that she could make ends meet. But my mother never taught me how to be an independent woman. My mother by example, I seen her, and that's how I knew how to take care of myself by myself. But at the same time, my mother never spoke against men and say, oh, don't go get no husband, you don't need a man. My mother never said that. So stop lying on your mother.